Hello, welcome to Nell at Night. And it's funny because this is Nell at Night, but it's getting darker later. How cool is that? So last week, I'm jumping right in, we were talking about karma and parenting ourselves. And I left off at parenting ourselves, and I just didn't feel like I was being clear or conveying the message that was important for me to share. So I am going to finish doing that tonight. I also wanted to talk a little bit more about karma. So in case I didn't share this before, I don't think I did. These videos are off the cuff. So when I speak, it's not scripted. I do have a few takes that I've done because I've really messed up, but my thoughts are not written down. Maybe I should write them down. Maybe in the future I will. Who knows? I chose to do these videos not with them being very scripted because I feel like it's authentic. It's really me, and you get all of my perfect imperfections. So going back to karma. Karma is also very important, and why I wanted to talk about it, because it literally is the key, or one of the keys, or the key to changing your life, changing your karma. Because when we begin to look at our ancestry, we begin to look at how were we raised, what were we taught, what was around us. And this doesn't mean that anything of that was quote unquote bad. It just means that we become aware of what we've actually been taught. Then we can make choices as to whether or not we want to continue on that path, and also understand why it was there. So that the other beautiful part of this is it allows for compassion and forgiveness and caring for the people that did raise us, because we can begin to understand on a different level of maybe why there was a certain way of family members or environment, why it was behaving like that, or why it was like that. Okay, so I think that's all on karma. May some other day pop up something else. Now, going back to parenting ourselves. So I have learned for myself how to work with these parts of me that behave a certain way that I'm always like, I used to be. Like, why did I do that? When I know I want my life to be so much different. I know that I don't want to go eat a whole box of cookies, and then I just did it. And why did I do that? And also, I want to be a certain kind of person. And even though I want to be this kind of person, I'm still acting not in that way of that kind of person. So when we do things that we necessarily don't like about ourselves or want, qualities that we admire about who we are, how do we deal with that? Most of the time when I have clients that come into me, and how I used to be with myself, is that people will come into me and they hated who they were and how they acted. They hated that part of them, right? Because it's like the ugly part, or the part that we want to put aside or not pay attention to, ignore, and pretend it could go away. And maybe we could change that about ourselves and not have it there. So here's the cool thing about parenting. And this is what I loved about it. And this was so important for me because I was that person who would get so angry with myself. I wanted to be one way and I acted a different way. And by the way, I was always, and still am, what was the word? I made up a word last week for it. I'm a improveaholic. So what does that mean? I love to always learn more, read more, practice new things, get more education. And sometimes that's great. Learning is awesome. Also, being who we are and being satisfied with exactly how we are is important, and something that I had to work with and just be like, okay, am I just trying to be better because I don't like who I am? Or am I actually really enjoying the learning? So before it was both, and now it's more about the fact that I really love to learn, and learning is great. So going back to the parenting ourselves, right? When we screw up, when we're so awful, and it's like, I hate this about me. This is, I just like failed and didn't do anything that I wanted to do. I know I've talked about failure before too. So what do we do with a naughty child, right? Well, we could reprimand a naughty child and tell them, you are awful, you're so bad, you're punished, go in the room, I hate you, get away from me. And we could be really mean to a naughty child. Most of the time, a naughty child is looking for attention and discipline, right? So parenting is not just about being kind and loving to ourselves. It's also about being firm and in an unconditionally loving way. This is key. And can you see the shadows of my hands moving? Because I'm using my hands a lot today. Actually, I just listened to a talk on metta, which is a loving kindness practice of meditation, and it's about how you can really exude. Metta means like loving, boundless friendliness, compassion, standing with yourself and others. And so one of the talks about it was how you use your hands. How do you use your hands when you're opening the door? Is it rushed like you don't care, or is it with thought and care and intention? And if we already use our hands in every way and thoughtfully, how could that affect your life? So think about that. Now, that does tie into what I was talking about, by the way, right? This parenting, this caring for ourselves. And that is an extension, right? If you think about how do you use your hands, an extension of the care that we have for ourselves and the care that we have for others. How we care for ourselves is how we care for others. It's really related. And as you begin to look at these things, you'll see the relationship between the two, which is so beautiful. So, parenting yourself, you can be firm. So lay down the law. Be like, hey, we're not going to do this anymore. We are going to show up and go to the gym, right? I know, like, let's look at it like this. Somebody told this to me before, and it really resonated for me as well. I know you want to stay up all night eating candy and not going to school the next day, but we're not doing that. You're going to bed now. I love you. I know you don't like it. And we're going to wake up. You are going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to school, right? That's the parenting. Love. You see that little rebel, naughty person acting ill-behaved, and you're still caring and unconditionally loving them and disciplining them. This is how we get our stuff done. Okay. Have a great week, and I look forward to another fantastic week. Use those hands in a beautiful way. Okay. Good night.